Solution number 2, brute force, just keep going at it. Good evening, I'm down at Bill's shop again. I'm here with Scott and we are working on 2 projects tonight. The first is dealing with electronics, and then once we finish here we're going to go back in the shop and work again on the engine. So starting out, we're working on some electronic stuff. Actually it's the guys, I'm watching, just spectating, but they're working on a circuit board and they've got all this gizmo stuff here. It's like a maker, mad scientist, Edison meets Tesla kind of thing. Anyways, I'll have to show you. What are you working on there?
I am removing this STM8 processor and replacing it with a faster, bigger, better one on this development board. So got all the tools to do that, hot air, solder.
And what is this big thing you're looking in?
This is called the old man eye adapter, because I can't see enough to solder anymore, so I have to do everything through the microscope now.
So your younger employees don't have to use this?
One of them does not like to use the microscope, yes.
And what does this do, this circuit board you're working on, what does it do?
This is an STM8 discovery board, and it allows you to do software development on a little microcontroller. It's an 8-bit microcontroller, and they're kind of like, you know, Arduino boards and Raspberry Pis, where you do development on a small board, and then maybe if you want to turn that into a product, then you actually design your own version of this.
And Scott, you're working on some version of this. What are you doing with this circuit board?
I've been writing the code that runs on that STM8 to control some LED lights.
Okay, so we get like Las Vegas light shows or something?
Absolutely.
I'm watching these guys doing the soldering and working about this, talking all this code geeky talk that you just heard, and I have no idea what it all means, but they're working with a circuit board that's going to control some lights, and that's the essence of it. We're back in the shop again working on the engine, and we've stripped down most everything last week, and we're doing the final touches this week of getting down to the block. And it's my understanding that once we have the block done, that they're going to be sending in the block to be tested to see if there's any cracks, and then figure out if they're going to use this block or go another direction to move forward with the engine. I'm going to ask Bill for an update on this. So some of the subscribers were asking and curious from the last video. It apparently was not clear to them that whether there was a head gasket blown, a problem with the head gasket, or if it's something else. They were looking at the video and they didn't understand. So,
well, we've had a couple professional opinions here, semi-professional and an actual professional opinion. And here's the head gasket, and the opinion is that it was in fact blown. There's some carbonization of the ring here, which should not be here, and some delaminating of the gasket material itself, and according to the pros, that's a blown head gasket.
Okay.
So I'll believe the pros.
And then from here, we're going to strip the rest of the engine down to the block and then send the block out?
Yeah, so the block they're usually pretty bomb-proof. It's a cast iron block, so they're really difficult to actually blow up. But you know, before we invest a lot of time and money in machining and engine work, the thing to do is just get it cleaned and then have it checked for cracks first thing. So that's the next step here.
And how do they check for cracks? They just inspect it, look at it?
Well, I think we should ask Scott.
All right, so Bill is sending it over to you, Scott, to explain how they test the engine block to see if there's cracks. What do they do?
They're going to magnaflux the block, which involves big magnets and some kind of fluid.
Okay, mad science. That's what's going on.
And after that, they'll take measurements with micrometers and check the bore size and bearing journals and all these sorts of things.
What are you doing here?
So this is how we're going to clean parts. We've got biodegradable degreaser from Harbor Freight, and I got a bin of water, and I got a fish tank heater because this stuff always works better when it's warm. And there's a real science to the mixture. You have to get the exact mixture right.
Yeah.
That much.
That's exactly the right amount.
To the ounce. And then we're going to let it heat up, and then we can wash dirty parts and paint them. Make them just like new.
So my job tonight is going to be washing parts. So we're preparing this little tub here so that I can just put some parts in there and do something useful. So all done?
Almost. So we flipped the engine over now, and it just took all the oil pan.
So this is the bottom?
This is the bottom.
Okay.
This is the oil pan, a sump where all the oil sits. And I just unstuck it from the engine, so we get to see what's inside now.
So that's a technical term, unstuck it from the engine?
It is. You could look it up in the
Right.
Toyota Technical Dictionary. So, a lot of oil and water mixed together there at the bottom. Look at the bottom of the oil filter, all that crud there.
Wow.
Oil pickup too.
Crud is another technical term.
Mm-hmm.
So, we can take some of this stuff out, but if we can't get the crank pulley off, then we're kind of done. We're going to need bigger tools and more powerful stuff to get any further.
From what I understand, these guys are sort of stuck right now trying to get this, what is this, the pulley?
The crankshaft pulley.
The crankshaft pulley. They're trying to get the crankshaft pulley off, but it's stuck on there. And so Scott's solution is to send it off and let the mechanic shop deal with it. They have all the tools and it just costs more money. Solution number 2, brute force, just keep going at it. They've tried air tools. We've tried air tools, and now we're trying a crowbar and breaker bar, piece of wood, and a crowbar.
I have one? No, it's not here. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to break it if I put any more pressure on it.
Now, on the other side of the shop, there's some dragsters. This is one of them here. I think this is called a fueler or a gasser car. I don't remember. It's one of the kind of dragsters. Couple more cars here. Golf cart. And this one here is about 800 horse, 300 cubic inch engine, something like that. Very fast. I think it goes in this one over here. Well, we're wrapping things up here, cleaning up, putting tools away. That's all I have for this episode. Thank you for watching. Savor the moment. See you next episode.